What's going on, America? This is Kevin from Kevin's Corner, where I try to make some sense out of nonsense. And I want to tell you a story. Back in the day, I used to do a little wrestling, wrestled in high school. Then I got into some mixed martial arts after I finished playing football. And I loved mixed martial arts because, you know, if people don't know what you know, you can make them look real silly. I'm talking about you can choke a man out, and if you don't have mercy on him, he'll just be choked out. It's such a well disciplined style of fighting, and people watch it on TV and they say, you know what, that's so barbaric. You guys are like animals, and I'm going, no, no, no. It's actually very, very poetic. It's there's a method to the madness. It might look chaotic, but trust me, it takes a lot of skill and a high intelligent person to do that, because you got to defend all kind of stuff. You can't just be in there talking about, yeah, I just got to watch out for somebody's hands. You got to watch out for a foot right in your mouth when you think, oh man, this dude is a boot right in the mouth. You got to watch out for elbows, knees. You got to watch out for getting your joints snapped, all that stuff. You got to know multiple styles and arts. So you can't be no dummy in there. You got to be thinking quick. And on top of that, you got to have some wind. You can't be getting in there wheezing. You can't be getting there talking about I only got a fourth of a tank of gas, but I'm going to go ahead and go 3 rounds. Because trust me, 3 rounds is an eternity when you ain't got no wind. But what I love most about it is that it made you strategically think, meaning you saw what you wanted to do to your opponent at least 3 or 4 moves ahead of time. Now, I was training some guy who was out of shape. He was built like Grimace off of McDonald's. And yet he was arrogant. Now I'm doing this man a favor. I'm doing this for free. Just because he went to my church when I lived in Cincinnati and he was built like a bag of bubble gum, I was like, I'm going to help you out. Now, this man comes in after I was teaching at the time, comes in and he was late. I'm sitting on the phone, very important phone call. This man comes in and disrespects me and says, you know what? Hurry up. Now he's drinking a milkshake. He ain't trying to get one day better. He's drinking a milkshake, talking about some hurry up. And I'm like, hey, hold up, who are you talking to, So, and this man, not granted, he's about at least 300 pounds. So I finally get off the phone and he's like, man, next time, when we supposed to work out, man, hurry up. I said, hold up, first of all, man, I'm helping you out. Secondly, you were late. Thirdly, you might want to watch your tone lest you get choked out. Now, the man don't know anything about mixed martial arts. He's looking at me at the time. I was swole up. I was about 230 something pounds. I didn't look sorry. And I'm thinking to myself, does he have a misperception of, some people you look at, you like, that dude looks sorry. Some dudes you look at and say, that dude don't look sorry now. But the man disrespected me. He said, you ain't gonna choke nobody out. I said, oh, I ain't. I said, man, I guarantee you, I would choke you out less than 1 minute. No, I told him 30 seconds. I said, you wouldn't last 30 seconds on the mat with me. He said, 30 seconds? I said, yeah. Matter of fact, if you last 30 seconds on the mat with me, I'll give you $1,000. I said, and he said, well, what if I lose? I said, then you don't owe me nothing. Now, this is a win-win deal. So we go out. We're walking down to the gym. And I think he done forgot about this, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, okay, and this man. We get down to the gym, and he's like, you ready? And I'm like, ready for what? He's like, ready for me to win my money. And I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yeah. So football coach happened to be walking by. Coach know what I do. How I used to get down. So I said, coach, man, I need you to time this. This dude gonna get on the mat with me. He got to last 30 seconds. If he lasts 30 seconds, then of course he wins $1,000. And the coach was like, oh shoot, this dude about to get set up. He has no idea what he's getting into. So we go in there, and sure enough, I said, as soon as we lock up, that's when the clock starts. Man, we locked up. Now understand, I never really locked up with it. I had a mission. My mission was to get to the man's neck. Guess where I started at, though? I started at his ankles. So I'm sitting there in front of him, got low, hit him with a couple of these, pop, 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 shot down, grabbed his ankle, bent that leg down like this, and all you saw, him flip down on his stomach. And I knew when a person that don't know anything about wrestling, mixed martial arts, you hit your stomach, first thing you're going to do is try to get up. And when you get up, guess what you expose? Your neck. Now, I didn't want his ankle. I wanted the man's neck. That's what I wanted. And I knew exactly what he would walk into. So I started with the ankle, and he's thinking, this dude grabbing my ankle. falls to his stomach, goes to get up, exposes his neck. By the time he exposes his neck, I'm off the ankle. I'm in behind. I'm coming up from behind him, whoop, cross his face. I threw a cross arm across his face so hard, I think he saw his butt crack from behind. He was like, I turned his whole head around. If you were standing behind him, you would have saw the whites of his eyes. It was, and sure enough, as soon as I hit him with that, tapped out, 9 seconds. That's all it took. Now, that whole story is really designed to tell you what happened to LeBron James the other night when he was on Don Lemon's show. Don Lemon was about 3 or 4 moves ahead of him. Now, what do I mean? You should know by now that CNN is a crooked, corrupt, funky, fake news station. Their whole goal and objective is not to report real news. It is to start controversy and make Trump look bad, make Republicans look bad, push a liberal agenda any way they can possibly do that. So most of the time when they bring people on, they either are bringing them on to debate against them or bringing them on because the person supports their narrative. But this is the problem I have. When non-politicians decide to go on places like CNN, MSNBC, they don't realize that all they are pawns in the middle of a game. They're pieces on a chessboard. If you play chess, you're about 3 or 4 moves ahead of your opponent. You don't care if you sacrifice a pawn. You're going after the queen. You're sitting there like, yeah, this dude think that he about to get him a pawn or 2. And I'm sitting there 3 moves ahead of him like, I want that queen. And he got set up. He went on there thinking they're here to talk about the school. It's like old Jerry Springer. Yeah, come on the show. We want you to talk about relationships. So we want you to talk about how life is in your city or whatever. And the guy comes on or the girl comes on. And when they put you in the sound booth, that should give you a warning. You sitting there like, why am I in the sound booth? You come out and all of a sudden, 2 girls you might have been dating back in high school standing there and say, you're like, uh-oh, why are they here? And it's like, you thought you were coming on for whatever, but we want to talk to you about these 2 girls right here that have your baby, and then we're going to do it. And you sitting there like, oh, y'all just set me up? You should know. CNN is just like that. You didn't come on CNN, LeBron, to talk about your school. Yeah, that might have started off like that. Yeah, that was the ankle. That was the ankle that Don Lemonhead was going for. Yeah, but what he really wanted was your neck. And you fell right into it, see? You were sitting there looking at the ankle, and he wanted the neck. So now you get in there, and he's talking to you like, yeah, it's great that you started school. What made you want to do? What inspired you? Where'd your inspiration come from? And what's your passion? And he's like, yeah, I'm my family, my mom, and all them. And somehow, Lemonhead starts to go for what he really wanted, which is some controversial statement that would be directed at the current administration or Trump to further push identity politics, race baiting, and division. So he starts to bring up the president. He's talking about how he's using sports to be divisive. Now, poor LeBron, he don't know. See, that's what I'm saying. People who are not in politics or not a commentator like that, a liberal commentator or whatever, don't go out there. You ain't in that arena, okay? That's like a boxer getting. People used to crack me up when they said, "Man, you crazy, man. If Mike Tyson was in the UFC, man, Mike Tyson would have beat up everybody." I'm like, dude, Mike Tyson would have got choked out so quick in the UFC, it would have made his head swim because that's a different arena. You don't play in that arena. You think they're going to sit there and let Mike Tyson punch him in the face? No. They're going to shoot in on Mike Tyson's legs, drag him to the ground, and on your back, you're just as big as Mike, okay? Same size. Now, all of a sudden, Mike is in some type of arm bar, and he's thinking to himself, do I let my arm get broken? Or, maybe I should just go ahead and tap out, I mean, he's about to ruin my career and everything. Mike would have tapped out just like everybody else, see? So my point that I'm trying to make is he jumped in an arena that he don't know anything about, and Don Lemon manipulated him. Yeah, he set him up for failure. And sure enough, he took the bait. And so when Donald Trump made the comment about his intelligence, there is some type of justification for that. Because, see, it's not that he's overall dumb, okay, or lack of intelligence or whatever. But he is ignorant when it comes down to the agenda of the liberal media, the nasty, funky, crooked Democrats, and he has fallen victim to this gaslighting, all of this information operations that they've been using, and it's not LeBron's fault. He just happened to listen to it, and he has the background to support it too, because I'm just like LeBron. I grew up in a black neighborhood. I was an athlete and so on and so forth, but nonetheless, At some point, you got to stop and say, wait a minute, what all this crap they feed me? Is this true? But he makes a comment about, and this is the one that got me, when he said, no matter how high you go, how rich you are, how great an athlete you are, and so on. So I'm paraphrasing, but he said, you will always be the N word. And that's when my eyes got big. And I said, really? Now, I'm a former athlete. I was highly sought after. Okay. Played ball in the same regional area as him. In this regional area in my life, I have never been called the N word by a white person. Been called the N word by some black people because I guess that's legal. It's okay to do that, but never by a white person. In fact, there has been many white, Puerto Rican, all different types of races of people up in this area that has opened doors for me, okay? That has supported my career, supported me. I mean, even on YouTube, a lot of the subscribers, white, women, men, old, young, black, Puerto Rican, Mexican, all different types, okay? And yet LeBron throws this statement out here that is such a crutch when it comes down to us ever approaching real racism and overcoming it. When you say something like that, especially if you cannot give overwhelming examples of this, then you just throwing out a reckless statement, and to people who listen to you and look up to you, they might believe it. Meaning this, by the 8th grade, you was about 9.5 feet tall. I mean, people weren't looking at you like the regular little black kid running around the street. They was like, hey, something special. High school, everybody's like, this dude's going to the NBA. I don't think there was a lot of people running around saying, hey, you blank, get over here. No, I think they were more so saying, hey, you blank, can I get your autograph? You big, tall, nice basketball player. That's all you were to them. I don't think that they were saying you were a blank, blank, blank. Then you come out of high school and you become a millionaire, okay? I still don't think a lot of people are coming up to you saying you are a blank in my eyes, okay? All right? I think most of them are coming up to you, praising you, wanting your autograph, telling you how great you are. That's what I have a tendency to think. And for you to say something like that, any black athlete, any black person, if you were not born back in the 40s, 50s, and beyond, and you saying stuff like that, and you don't have overwhelming data in your own personal life of everywhere you go, you being said and called that word, every job you take, you know what? You'll never get a promotion because you know all you are, you're a blank and blank and blank and blank. If that ain't happening to you overwhelmingly, why would you say something like that? And when you throw that statement out there, what you do is you create this image in young people's mind, in some older black people's mind, and in some victimized white people who running around saying the same stuff. You know what? This is it's systemic racism, and this is white privilege, and they done made you buy into it to make your conscience feel better at night, yeah, because you're agreeing that they're oppressed, and then you're trying to help them out, and frankly, that's almost more upsetting to me. I see young white boys and girls walking around. You know what this is? This is racism. This is, you guys, you've had it great all your life. You don't understand. And we need to do something to show them that. And I'm going, so you're supposed to help us out. I mean, and maybe that's a little arrogant. I don't know. I mean, you're looking at it like, well, we gotta now atone for all of our ancestors, and we're going to do this by attacking our own race and shaming ourselves and whipping ourselves on the back, to make up for it all. And I'm going, no, you don't need to do that. Just be nice. Just be kind, okay? Act like you got some sense. You ain't got to overcompensate. And so when people hear stuff like, you're going to always be the N-word, that just took away all the hope. That just took away any chances of us as a nation ever, overcoming racism. Let me tell you something. LeBron, as a former athlete, play basketball, man. Just play. I love the school and all, but I don't want to hear about the president. You would never go to the White House, but yet you're talking about change, but yet you don't want to go to the person who can do something. President Trump would love to meet with anybody that says, man, this is a problem. Okay, it's a problem. Let's talk about it. But you can't insult the president and then say, now we need to have a meeting, because you know his temperament. He's going to fire back. And when he does, don't yell racism. Don't cry foul. Take it. You dished it out. Take it. And so for me to hear that statement, it bothered me, because what that does is it makes people walk around creating a problem that ain't a problem. So now for you to say that you're always going to be the N-word, Well, what image does that create in the mind of some black people? I mean, you go off to college. If you don't get the grades you want by a white professor, in your mind, you thinking he did this because I'm black, not because I didn't study, not because I just didn't put the effort in. You know, almost every situation that you don't get your way in, you're going back to that statement. You're going back to that image in your mind, thinking that all of this is because I'm black. All this is because, I'm a racist. You ever seen somebody that it's never their problem? It's never their fault. Man, I got fired from my job the other day. Let me tell you something. They never liked me anyway. See, because there's some racist people over there. When I first came in, I knew they ain't like me because I was black. And I'm going, I know you, okay? I don't like you, and I'm black. So stop blaming it on being black. Blame it on your nasty, funky attitude. That's probably why you got fired. And you don't come in. You call off every other day for something stupid, and you're always there. And when you're there, you're up there fussing and whining and having an attitude with customers. You can't do that. Okay, you can't get in there doing a whole bunch of this. Okay, all right, that's gonna get you fired. And when it happens, don't be talking about it's because I'm black. All right. So I want anybody out there that's listening, take it from a black person. Um, I don't think that every person I run into that ain't black look at me like he's a blank word. In fact, I rarely ran into anybody that ever disrespected me where I was able to determine that race was a factor. Okay. I don't declare myself to be a victim. I don't think that it's hopeless for black people and we're all going to be walking around for eternity viewed as the N word. I don't think that. I think that that right there is a bunch of crap coming from somebody who has overcome every obstacle you could think of when it comes down to being a black person, and is living an amazing life right now in this wonderful country that somehow looks at him like he's what, just an N-word? I mean, how does that even play out? I mean, why would they let you even acquire that type of money or this type of fame and fortune? Why would they do that? If that's the case, the white people who own CNN would have been like, well, let's not let him come on our station because all he is the N-word. And who is this mysterious group of people that's sitting back going, that's all they are, is N-words? Are they the same people who write your paychecks? Are they the same people who own the basketball team that you play on? Or are they the same people who come to your game and cheer you on and dump all the money into the stadium so that you can have stuff and your millions and your shoes and all that stuff? Are these the same people that's looking at you and saying, let's give all of our money to this N-word out there that's shooting hoops? Think about that. Now, you've been listening to Kevin and Kevin's Corner. I couldn't let that statement slide. Stop going on these shows, letting them use you like pawns in a chess game so that they can push their narrative. We already know what they're about. It's like, the Ricky Lake, Jerry Springer show, all of them. It ain't nothing but the cesspool when you go on the show. So don't be shocked when they bring you out and everybody goes, boo. Okay? Yeah, they setting you up. Same thing with CNN, MSNBC, and the rest of them. Now, you've been listening to Kevin and Kevin's Corner. All right? Trying to make some sense out of that nonsense. God bless you. Find me on Facebook, Twitter. Check me out. If you're on YouTube and you're looking at this video, hit subscribe. Hit the notification button as well. Who knows? I got to figure some cool title out so they don't demonetize it. So if you want to support Kevin and Kevin's Corner, there's links in the bottom to click on and do that as well. God bless you. See you next time in Kevin's Corner.